Welcome back then folks to day 2 of Special Projects Pack number 19, the second build of the day of course, this time for a vehicle which I was pretty convinced a few of you would be very happy to see in the trailer, the Abflug, I guess on pronunciation, 930 Turbo Porsche. Of course this is a brand of tuner car, if you will, which is pretty well known to most old school Forza players like back in Forza 2. This one though, bit of a deeper cut, but also within the tuned Porsche scene, a pretty well known car. This one has gone from strength to strength. It's become more and more powerful over the years, at least around 680 horsepower apparently these days, with capabilities of about 800. I believe the car was rebuilt at a certain point. I can't remember the reason why now, but I read up on it briefly. I'm sure there's a ton about this car that I don't know, because I'm not super into the Japanese street scene in terms of aftermarket cars, but I know that this is one of the more famous examples in that one. As far as the engine goes, we've kind of stretched believability a little bit because you just cannot get the standard engine to get high enough horsepower. So what we've done is swapped it for the way more powerful motor, the race motor, if I recall correctly, which thankfully, of course, gets you the right amount of power. And as it turns out, with a nice big old turbo, has a lovely sound to it as well with that turbo chirp. Now, as far as the livery, of course, that's as usual linked in the description. I believe a few people have done their versions of this kind of livery because, like I said, it is pretty iconic. As far as the build, like I said, you do want the motor swap, so this is one of the slightly more expensive builds this time around. The advantage of that is there's not really that much to do to the engine once you've fitted it, so it's pretty simple. So we've got the sports pads, because again, it's not really a race car. It's kind of a road-going race car, but I wanted to make it a bit more believable rather than just fitting race everything to it, so we've gone for sports pads. As far as the tyres, again, I haven't gone for racing ones. I've gone for sports softs to give it that kind of extreme road performance kind of vibe. It's up to you, though, in terms of what you want to go for. We've got the power restrictor and the ballast. For the semi-racing stuff, of course, the ECU, if I recall, I think that one might be already fitted anyway, though. The high RPM turbo, the fully customised diff. Again, for the sake of realism, I've opted to go for the manual transmission, fully customised, so you've got the ratios, but it's still got just a little bit of lag, and of course, it makes your point level a little bit better as well. In the case of this one, under 700 points is, well, pretty damn good for a 680 horsepower Porsche. And we'll touch on the point of its weight in a second. We've got the racing silencer. Again, pretty sure it has that anyway with the motor swap. The racing brakes are fitted. In terms of realism, I guess I kind of skirted around it a little bit there, but we'll let it go. You could go for the carbon ceramics, I guess, if you want to go for more of the supercar vibe. The fully customised suspension. For the extreme stuff, I've actually not opted to go for the steering angle because I thought, well, it's a 911, it's a classic, it's got a hell of a lot of horsepower, so it might end up a bit squirrely. So I thought, well, if I try it, and then if it does need it, you can always fit it, whereas if you fit it and then it makes it bad, you can't really go back as easily, not without spending a lot more cash. So as it turns out, I don't really think you need this steering angle adapter. I have gone for the hydraulic handbrake though, because you never know when you might want to get a bit drift happy. Again, Japanese street scene after all. The carbon ceramic brakes are there as well. I don't recall off the top of my head, and of course you only have to wait a few seconds to find out which one I actually fitted. I think it might actually have the ceramics on there, so we'll see in a second. And for the ultimate stuff, of course, there's nothing there anyway. Now, if we jump back into the garage, and first of all, I'll just double check what the brakes actually were. I think I may have gone for the ceramics rather than the racing ones. If we look down here, we've got the racing. So I've gone for the racing ones instead of the ceramics. I don't recall why I did that. I would have thought I'd have gone the other way around, unless I just did that by mistake. So, like I've said before, go for whatever you want, really. As far as the visual stuff, I would say that ceramics probably suit the car a bit more. Now, as far as the build, this is a surprisingly forgiving car. I'll go ahead and say that now. Obviously, sports soft tyres help a lot, but you would think a classic Porsche with 680 horsepower would be, well, if the yellow bird's anything to go by, a bit leery. It's actually really good to work with. This is so much fun, and it barely has any oversteer. It doesn't slide around, it's not twitchy in any kind of way that you would usually expect it to be. And I think some of it might actually be helped by not only the downforce and the tyres, by also the wider track. That wide body and having the wider wheels and tyres, I think it might really be helping out on this occasion. So as far as the suspension goes, I've got 100mm on the ride height, which sounds pretty high, but as you can see, it definitely doesn't look too high on this car. We've got 5 on anti-roll, 25 and 35 for the dampers, 2.85 for the springs, 1 degree of camber. Toe isn't even that crazy either. Towed out 0.10 on the front and in 0.30 on the rear. 10, 20 and 30 on the diff, so not exactly anything insane there either. As far as the transmission, kind of moderately long gearing. This will do 200 miles an hour around Tokyo, even with the full downforce. So I would say that probably feels about right to what the real car could do, so 350 kilometers an hour. As far as the ballast, this is where things get a bit more up for debate. Now, somebody might know this information for a fact. I wasn't able to find it, though, in terms of what the car actually weighs. I'm sure it's changed a lot over the years, and with a racing engine, it's bound to be different to real life anyway. But to me, I was kind of looking at the car, looking at what's been done to it, and I was trying to think what feels right, what looks realistic for the car. And to me, somewhere around 1,300 kilos, I would imagine is probably believable for the car. It might be less, it might be more, but that's what I've gone for. So if you know for a fact what the weight actually is, or if you want to go for your own weight that you think is different, then by all means do so. To me, that just sounds about right for the car, though. In terms of the ballast position, I just put it all the way to the front to give us, still a 42.58, so it's very rear biased, but just a little bit closer to the middle. As far as the ECU, we've reduced it down to 87%. Like I said, that is because this car is running about 680 horsepower, at least from what I could find. I'm running full downforce, more so for the cornering side of things. Obviously, with 680 horses, the straight line stuff's going to take care of itself. And like I said, even in this form, it can do 200 miles an hour anyway, so it's not like it's exactly lacking. And of course, over here, what few things we did purchase are fitted. So all that remains, as I said earlier on, is to jump out to Tokyo and show you what the car can do in practice. Now, as I alluded to earlier on in the video, one of my favourite things about doing the motor swap, because I was a bit concerned that it would kind of ruin the vibe, it's actually perfect. Not only in terms of how instant and raw the race engine feels, but the turbo chirp just sounds so appropriate to this car. It sounds fantastic. And of course, you've got that nice pop and bang on the exhaust. It just feels right to the car. It's so much fun to use. I could see for some of you this being maybe your favourite car of the pack this time around. It is a lot of fun, and it's something wildly different to the other Porsche builds which I've done before. And the funny thing is, to go back to what I said earlier on, despite seeming on the surface like what should be an even crazier version of like a roof Yellowbird, it doesn't feel like that at all. The Yellowbird is really challenging, and obviously comparing it to a car that's got heavy modifications isn't entirely fair, but even so, the Yellowbird is legendary in terms of being challenging. This just, it feels super forgiving. It's like the car wants to work with you. It's so much fun through corners. There's barely any tail slide on it, which I think might also have something to do with the updates in terms of how heavy cars have become, as I mentioned, of course, in the first build of the week with the Ferrari. So that could well change, so don't quote me on that. It might become horrendous down the line, we never know, but for now at least, this feels great. It's hugely fun to drive, so if you do have the opportunity to pick up a 911 Turbo from the used dealer, or if you got one lying around, give this a try. I think you'll really enjoy it, and it's something very, very different, like I said, to my typical kind of rally or race-derived kind of builds for 911s. That's it though for this build, of course. Stick around for the rest of the week in pack number 19. Obviously check out the ones which we've already done, and thanks for watching.